So we are going to quickly learn how we can create this remote icons, and again I haven't created like a good looking design because I wanted to showcase the functionality. Basically we can create any type of design, or it doesn't even have to be an icon, it can be any image, any text or anything that can be clicked on, and then you can see how this works. And the best part is these four are not the same widgets. So if I go into my Elementor editor, you can see I am using the carousel widget, the new carousel widget around here. Then I'm using an image widget. So you can see I cannot click on it because I have added some CSS, but that's why we are going to use the navigator, which is like here. And then I can see I can click on the image carousel. This is also image carousel. This is the testimonial carousel, and all of them just work fine with just one button. And this way you could make like nice hero sections and all, so that you don't have to worry about the annoying or like the boring looking arrows. So how about we quickly get started? You don't need Elementor Pro for this, so that's a good thing. But if you can buy Elementor Pro, I would suggest getting it from the description below, because it's just better to get the Elementor Pro. So how about we just get started on how to do that? So I just opened a new page, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add like a container and add any carousel widget that I can use. So for time being, I'll just make this like a bit bigger and then make it center. So for time being, we'll just use, let's say, a carousel of image. So like this one, and then just add any image that we can find. So I just added like 3 images inside this. I'll make this full, make the slides to 1. And I'm going to remove the arrows and dots because I don't want to be this stuff to be clickable. So I'll just go do none. And this is all we need right now. And then I'm going to create another container for my icons. You don't need to create another container. You could place it however you want. I'm just doing it to just showcase. I'll do an icon. Let me make this like this. I'll just make this some random color for time being, like black color. Give it some padding, and then make this like left arrow. Anything randomly that I can find. And this is all we need to do. So in the carousel, I'll just go and let me just find. I'll use the hashtag my Elementor carousel. Choose the carousel widget. Go into CSS ID and add that. And here I will find my previous element, go into my icon and then add it in the CSS ID. Now all we need to do is take HTML widget and place it at the bottom like this. And in this one, I'm just going to copy this code. And let me first see how this looks or what it does. So if I go into my wave option, you can see nothing's happening. One issue that I did was I added hash. So you don't need to add hash around here. I just copy pasted it in hurry, so you can see it didn't work. Let's remove the hash and then let's see by reloading it. And now if I click, you can see it just takes it back, and again I cannot click on it. So how about I just duplicate this, and I'll show you how this code works pretty soon. So don't worry about it, so that you could configure it to your liking. I'll copy my next element in this one and then add it in the CSS ID. And now you can see that I can manually do this. And again, I cannot spam click it because I added a time delay. And there's a reason I added like a time delay to click it, because what would happen is if you spam this, this would go faster, and then this would go, sorry, this one would go slower, and this would like change faster, simply because this image is smaller, so it takes like less time to go it. So if I didn't add a time delay, it would have made it unsynchronized. So everything would be like not synchronized. So for example, I added like a number 1 around here to like make sure it is synchronized, because before I did the time delay, I would spam click, right click, and then it would be 1 and this would be 3, and after clicking it multiple times, it would not be synchronized. So how about we learn how to change it? Because now that I've added this icon and showed you what we can add the code for, you can simply add and make it to however carousel you want or however design you want, but you will need to change the code. So how about I show you what we do. Now this code is basically, if I let's say remove this, let me update it, let's refresh it. This allows the ability for me to like move it via my mouse. Now it is okay if there's like only one image or one carousel, but it wouldn't make sense that I can move this one and then this rest of this would not move. So what would happen is this would change to like third slide, but this would all be on the second slide. We don't want that. So I just removed the touch option like this. Next we have our time delay. So here is a time delay for the clicks. So here if it takes 1.2 seconds before you can click this again. So this one you could only click it after 1.2 seconds. And the reason why we do that is because the maximum value that I've set for one of my slide is 1200. So if I go down and then not 1200, it's 1000. So let's see that for my third Elementor carousel, I have added 1000. So it takes 1 second to actually go from left to right for one of these slides. So they are not equally moving. You can see that some slides move faster, some slides move slower because I have added a time interval. So in one of this, if one of this goes like 1000, then we don't want it to be like spam clickable. So what we simply do is we just add like 200 millisecond extra so that nobody can spam click it like this. And you don't need to worry about anything else from this one. All you need to remember is like this code, which is 1200 millisecond. You could change it to however you want and just add it to the maximum of whichever value you use here. So for example, first slide takes 0.5 millisecond, second also same, it takes 1 second, this takes 700 milliseconds. So I just need to make sure that whichever is my maximum, which is 1000 millisecond, I add an extra value around here so that the animation for the third carousel happens. But how do we add like extra carousels, right? All you need to do is go into your carousel and add wherever you want. I'll change this layout to like left to right like this. And basically I can just hide this one. We don't need to have this one like this for temporary purposes. Now, and you could use any carousel that is possible to add. So for example, we have testimonial carousel. So I'll add this. If you cannot add it pretty nicely, all you need to do is select the container, type the widget that you want to and click it once. So now you can see I added the testimonial carousel. And all we are going to do is we are going to go in here and then we are going to use this ID, which is my Elementor carousel 2. And I'll also show you how you can add like extra stuff. So if you want to add like 5th, 6th, 7th, I'll show you how to do that. And that's all you need to do. And if I go into here, because in this code I have added for at least 4 carousels. So at least for 4 you don't have to worry about changing the code. And here you could see we can simply change it. And you could see these are equally moving, I think so, because these are set to 500 and 500. So first let me explain to you guys the code so that you can understand it what we are doing. Okay, basically click interval maximum and this all just does that. Then here it is that when we click on my previous element, which is the button, the left button on click, we want this to do is we need to change the my Elementor carousel and do the slide previous. It uses swiper library. The Elementor uses swiper library to use the carousels, and we are basically using their predetermined code to do this. So we are doing like find the my Elementor carousel and slide previously for 500 milliseconds. So if you want it to be slower, let's say if you want the slide to be slower, you could make it like 1000 milliseconds, or if you want it to be faster, you could make it like 300 milliseconds, something like this. And same with next one, and fourth one. So second, third, fourth, you can keep this all equal so that they take like same amount of time rather than different amount of time. But I added this simply because if you want to have some nicer looking stuff, then you could do that. And all you need to do is copy this one line. If you want to add, let's say 5th one, paste this like this, change this to 5, and that's all you need to do for the previous one. And here you could add your how many milliseconds you want. Same for the next element. You could see that we want it to do is change it to the next one. So all we are going to do is let's just copy the fifth one from here, or actually never mind, let's just copy this one because it's faster. Let's copy this and change this to 5 and then set this to, let's say, 300 like this. So that let's make this all like 300, and that's all you need to do. You just need to add like extra stuff like this, for previous, for next. This is, and for example now it's like 300 milliseconds. So obviously we don't want this to be like so big. We don't want it to be like 1200 milliseconds. Let me just show you what I mean. So if I just copy this around here. Also we need to make sure that the autoplay is off, and again you could see I cannot click on this because we have set it to not be clickable. But basically I'm going to remove this stuff. I'm going to remove the autoplay and I'm going to remove the dots, and let's update it. Let's refresh this page, and here you could see that I'm spam clicking. I don't know if you guys can hear this or not, but it takes a bit longer than when it slides. So it takes 300 milliseconds to switch from first slide to second, but it is taking 1200 milliseconds to click. So all we need to do is, if I go into my HTML, for some reason it just decided to like split, or not split, just shrink. So let's just click from here and then make it, let's say, like 500 milliseconds, so that it doesn't take so much time to be able to click again. And remember that it should be more than the highest value that you have set around here. So you can see I can click it faster. And what would happen, let's say, if I keep it to 500 and then I made this to, let's say, one of this I made to like 1000. I'll make this to like 1000 and make this to like 1000. Okay. I'm just showing you error cases so that you don't have to find the solution if some error happens. And you could see that this one takes time, but I can switch this much more faster, which can be an issue. And sometimes what happens is when someone like tries to click to get to, let's say, third slide, it would just make this unsynchronized. So right now the text is same, so it's not visible, but sometimes the first text would be with third slide. We don't want that. So make sure this one is like bigger. Well, I needed to make like 300 or something. And then in the testimonial carousel, let's add like 1, 2, and 3. Now you can see first image with 1. You can see how fast I can switch the bottom one, but the top one is slower. That's why we need to make sure that the code in this one has like higher stuff like this, more than whatever value I've set around here. And make sure that you add like an extra one by adding like a comma and then adding this and then adding 5. And whenever you add like an extra carousel, you could add any carousel. It doesn't have to be like just this one. Anything with Elementor like slides, testimonial, carousel, this carousel. Because we have added like the touch action off, we are not able to, you see, add it or click on it. So let me like add, never mind, I'll just add it here like this. And for timing, you could make this like not be working like this. You could do stuff so that, oops, inside of this, so that it's hidden, so it is not working, and then you would be able to work with this without having any issue. But after you do this, just remove this stuff, and that way you just need to like add the my Elementor carousel 5 around here, and then you're done. And that's simple code that you could use and create it however you want. And again, it doesn't have to be an icon. You could use an image, you could use like some I guess illustration or whatever you want. The world is yours, however you want, you could use it. And yeah, thanks for watching. All the links are in description, so check it out.